So it's Wednesday the 23rd of August 2017. It has just got to 20 past 5 in the morning and I am waking up in the city of Morelia, which is about 4 hours west of Mexico City, and this is going to be the start of my video diary for today, as I got my first proper sort of solo adventure of this trip to the volcano of Paracutin. So this is what I'm going to be taking with me. So I've got 2 bottles of water, obligatory sun cream and mosquito spray. I've got my camera, got a large amount of toilet roll for those emergency toilet situations. Hopefully won't be needing that. First aid kit, headphones, some money and some chewing gum. Oh, and a bag. Okay, so it is now 19 minutes past 6 and I have just managed to successfully get the taxi from my hostel to the bus station. I've bought my bus ticket to Uruapan and I am just waiting for the bus to leave, which is just behind me there. So that's the first stage done. It's now 8:34 and I've just got to Uruapan and immediately jumped on another bus going to Los Reyes, and hopefully in an hour or so I'll get to the town of Angoran, which is where I can begin the journey to Paracutin. Okay, so it's now 10 to 12 and I'm on a horse, and in front of me is Paracutin. So I got off the bus and it was a pretty swift transition. I was off the bus maybe, I don't know, 20 seconds and a van pulls up, and inside the guy's like, oh, are you planning on going to Paracutin? Do you want to get a horse? And 600 pesos later, I have a guide behind me who's also on a horse, and here we go. I think the whole trip is apparently going to take 6 hours, and we've been going about an hour. And already my arse is absolutely red raw, so I don't think I'm going to be able to sit down for a week after today, but I am not going to complain, he says hastily. Doing the last bit by foot. So it turns out that bringing that toilet roll was a good idea because, well, I can now say that I've definitely been for shit on the side of a volcano. So although it's a dormant volcano, the rocks are definitely steaming. I think it's pretty hot. This guy, he thinks I'm an athlete. Fuck knows why. I'm trying really hard not to look up because it's quite defeating when you see how much further we've got to go. Oh. I wish he'd fucking slow down. I'm starting to think I should have had more than a bread roll for breakfast. Oh. Yeah. Note to self. Next time you're going up a volcano, eat a bigger breakfast. Bang on 1 o'clock. And here we are. Right at the top. It's really cool. Let me turn the camera around. So this is the top. So what's crazy is this actually didn't exist 70 years ago. This was just a cornfield, and then out of absolutely nowhere, in the space of 11 years, this grows out of the ground 420 metres. Fortunately for me, it's now dormant. Like that said, you can still see, I'm not sure if you can make out, like the steam coming off the rocks from the heat below. It's really cool. It's super cool. So yeah, was about this point in the day that my guide, I think, was starting to get a little bit pissed off with the amount of photos and videos I was taking, as is illustrated here by him walking several hundred metres ahead of me. So the plan now is to go down there. I think he's crazy. Okay, bye then. So this video really doesn't quite do it justice to how steep the side of this was, and there's definitely a knack to trying to run down the side of a volcano, and one that I'm not quite sure I mastered in this time, but perhaps another day maybe. And here is the church of San Juan, which was pretty much destroyed, well, engulfed at least, by lava. Crazy. You can see the volcano in the background. That's the back of the church, and then you turn around and this is the front, or what's left of it, and that is the second floor window. So down there somewhere you've got the ground floor, the first floor. Totally crazy. Never climbed through a church via its second floor window before. So this is the front altar of the church, inside the church, with what can probably only be described as a minor inconvenience. Pretty much half. Well, yeah, actually amazing. And that's pretty much it. I didn't actually record anything else on Wednesday. On Wednesday. So it's now Friday. I think I've just about recovered, and I thought I'd just post a little video on the end of this just to explain how it feels looking back. So obviously, naturally, having to start off with the negative parts of the day. Wasn't overly pleased that of all of the days on this trip so far, 7 weeks in, it was halfway up a volcano that my stomach decided to rebel to whatever I'd eaten the previous day. On a plus note, it was a very good idea for me to have the hindsight to bring toilet roll. Otherwise, suffice to say, I would have probably lost a couple of socks in the trauma of what happened there. One thing I definitely did not give credit to was how raw I would feel having ridden a horse for 5 hours. I'm not entirely sure exactly what I expected, but I literally could not walk yesterday. Any physical activity, even today, to be honest, still feels a little bit tender. Yeah, I don't think I need to say anything else on that front. Managed to get a pretty good sunburn on my legs, which is nice, so I'm just waiting for that to start peeling. I guess that comes with the territory, despite putting the sun cream on, obviously. I think probably one of the worst parts of the day for me was being on the horse, having not ridden a horse for 15 years. The terrain that we were going over was obviously quite, rocky, and I think pretty much every time the horse slipped or tripped, which was, I think, probably every 4 to 5 paces, it felt like I was going to have a heart attack. But I think the thing that I nearly said enjoyed the most. The thing that I didn't enjoy the most was realising just how much I complain about absolutely everything. I've wanted to go to this place for probably a few years since I first read about it. And I'm not joking, like from the moment I got there, all I did was complain and complain and complain. The worst thing about it is I had no one to complain to. And I'm not sure my guide would have been particularly pleased if I'd tried to convey my thoughts in my fairly broken Spanish. So note to self, I think if I'm going to go on one of these trips again, is to make sure that I go with someone else so that I can have someone to vocalise to more. Not sure that's a particularly good idea for them, but I can't do it on my own again, that's for sure. On a positive side, it was pretty cool going up to the top of the volcano, and it was cool doing it on horseback. Although I think in hindsight, I'd perhaps only want to do that for maybe an hour, hour and a half, certainly not 5. I think probably the best thing was having done the whole trip on my own. I was a little bit worried beforehand about whether or not I would be able to get there and arrange, or be able to find a guide on my own and be able to arrange to get up and back. So I was quite pleased at the end of the day that I'd managed to do that without anything going really wrong. And I didn't fall off the horse, so that's got to be a positive. I think if I was going to give myself recommendations for the future, I think my number one thing would be to take more toilet roll. My number 2 thing would be not to wear short shorts. I really don't know why I thought that might be a good idea before I left in the morning, but I was wearing short shorts, and obviously in the saddle it was skin on leather. They weren't leather shorts, I mean the leather saddle. Yeah, red raw, just red raw. It wasn't good. And yeah, maybe have a bigger breakfast. Like I said in the video, it's one bread roll was not sufficient. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is how much all of this cost, which I think definitely would be a positive. So all of my costs for the day, so that includes all of my food, all of my drinks, that's breakfast, lunch and dinner, after the trip, 6 hours worth of transport on buses and taxis, 2 horses and the guide and the admission to the park came in at a whopping £58. So really can't complain from that front. Yeah, I was saying to a friend yesterday on the phone actually that I was thinking if this was in England, this trip would have cost, I don't know, maybe 200-300 quid. So definitely good value. Would probably add a little bit of money onto that if I was to get some deep tissue massage, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but I think I'm going to skip on that, seeing as I am meant to be travelling on a relative budget. So yeah, no, so it was a good day, and I think, would I recommend other people to do it? I think I would, bearing in mind that they took their own toilet roll, got a good night's sleep, had a bigger breakfast, took some more food with them, didn't wear short shorts, put on sun cream, and fully embraced themselves, ready for feeling red raw after the trip. But on the whole, I think my take-home message is it was a good day, I think.